Right, big news for the BBC's Wogey-in-Chief. Gary Lineker is set for a new contract as the Beeb are looking to tie down the Match of the Day star after his £1.35 million contract expires at the end of next season. The new deal comes just 8 months after Lineker was suspended by the corporation after tweeting that the government's language around migrants was similar to that of Germany's, Nazi Germany that is, in the 1930s. An independent panel subsequently ruled that the BBC's non-news presenters should be able to express political opinions, with Lineker continuing to be vocal over subsequent political events, such as the pro-Palestinian marches in the capital. Not a lot to say about Hamas and those captured and held hostage, it has to be said. But Aidan Magee joins me in the studio, I'm delighted to say. Aidan, I've just had a viewer email in and say, what is it that the BBC, what hold has Gary Lineker got over the BBC? Because they could get someone better and cheaper and the job would still be a good one.
Quite simply, Darren, they like him, and they know that the viewers like familiarity. Don't forget, he's been there since 1999. He had a stellar career long before he was ever a broadcaster. He grew into the broadcasting role. He was coached by a guy called Brian Barwick, and so it was a seamless move into the role. He was someone they invested in. And they know that the viewers like to see the same person every week presenting Match of the Day. Now, I'll tell you something about Gary Lineker. I wrote his column a couple of times on the News of the World many years ago. I wouldn't say that I knew him at all. However, he wasn't somebody in the past who ventured into politics. I didn't even know he had any views on kind of politics. I couldn't have told you 10 years ago what his political persuasion would be. He didn't suddenly develop what he might just call a social conscience 5 years ago. This is a calculated attempt to keep himself relevant and to keep himself on the airways. We've seen it with Carol Vorderman as well. It's obviously the advice from their agents. Once they reach a certain age, they're at risk of falling off the cliff, and so therefore their agents say to them, look, if you get a bit political, it makes yourself a little bit more difficult to dispense with.
But the difference there is, of course, that Carol Vorderman, they let go of Carol. So
yes, but that wasn't quite as well paying a job, though, was it?
Exactly, that's right, and not as regular, of course. But why is that calculation the case, that they feel that they absolutely cannot get rid of Lineker, so much so that they have to increase the salary of their highest paid star, and someone like Carol Vorderman, they say, well, off you pop?
Well, possibly, but then Lineker did, in fairness, take a pay cut a few years ago. They also don't really want to break up that triumvirate, that Lineker, Shearer and another, usually Micah Richards or Danny Murphy or somebody. And I think they just accept that they saw the problem that they had getting rid of him, 8 months ago? I think it was around February time. They had a backlash. They didn't like it. And I think we've reached a point in time now, for better or worse, that Gary Lineker pretty much not only names his price, but he also says when he's going to go. He's not going to last forever. I think he's about 62, 63 or whatever. But he's seen a lot of his colleagues of his generation and of his vintage who have been dispensed with, and that's probably why he ventured into politics. I think the BBC are quite happy to just leave things as they are for now. Had the thing in February happened maybe 5 years ago, it might be more easy to move on. But for now, I think they're happy to have him where he is. And also, they're getting Champions League highlights very soon, which means that they don't have much live stuff. In fact, they don't really have any live football anymore because they don't even do the FA Cup anymore. So it's all about highlights. They're going to need somebody with experience to chair or to front the Champions League coverage when it comes back to the BBC. Or in fact, I say come back to the BBC. They've never had Champions League coverage before and highlights. So they need someone to do that. They need expertise in the building. And I think generally you'll see a move. You certainly with other sports output, you've seen new broadcasters come in, new names come in. And I think in the fullness of time, you'll see him replaced.